This is a game from MSI Semifinals, Series 1 from 5. I will cover every single game, but this time it's the first one. So I will be explaining everything as I said and skipping over the useless part. Now, you see that Faker is going for the Aftershock, Inspiration Lissandra, pretty standard, and the enemy team mid laner is playing Morgana. This is a fairly neutral matchup. In a 1v1, you will mostly see people just farming, and it's about how people mind game better and how they play around their junglers better. The enemy team has a Sonateric, very weak bot lane, but they outscale everything and become monsters, so it's very important that SKT will work on shutting down that duo. So let's see how Faker and Clid will play to progress on the map. Look how Faker is looking at the camera, seeing what his bot lane is doing, just spamming the F keys like that to increase the information he's getting, and he knows that Sona died first blood. So they time her flash. Always, especially in pro play, but even in solo queue, it's very important you time summoners. The best way to do that is to just press enter, write, for example, ADC 1000F, and you know that at 10 minutes they will have their flash up. You do Control A, then Control C, so you can keep copy pasting it over and over. And then, for example, if top laner flashes, you just add on top of that and copy paste again. Uses Q to see if anyone is there, puts a level 1 ward to see if Olaf will go for a scuttle. Okay, so let's see the way he plays this lane. I expect him to be getting the priority to try to push because there's not really a downside to it. You need to think how easy, how high chance of you getting ganked is in this game, and you are playing against Olaf, Morgana, and you're Lissandra, so unless you get hit by binding, it's very, very low chance. So as you can see, both mid laners, this is a matchup where you call it just handshaking. So it's just about who farms better, who rotates better, and that's pretty much it. There's not going to be a lot of action in terms of 1v1 and trading. So Faker immediately fogs and goes with Jarvan. Now, whenever I say fog, that means that the player will go into fog of war. So let me explain it to you with Epic Pen. Imagine where the enemy team has vision, right? You just placed a ward here, so you know that nobody... This is completely a fog of war for the enemy team. If you go to fog, so you're fogging this way, the enemy team has no information, and now even if you just stay here, right? Again, cold fogging. Caps has to be pinging that you are missing, like this, and then his top laner and his jungler are pretty scared, you know, because this guy could be getting, though very unlikely at level 2, but still there's some pressure, and the jungler will be much more hesitant to face check the red buff, and you are doing all of this, putting so much pressure on the enemy team just with playing with Fog of War, and this is what high level players do so much. Okay, so let's continue the replay. You will hear the term very often, and now he goes back again, and he didn't lose a single thing. So this comes into the category of roaming, but fogging is just the lowest risk. See, Caps was following because he didn't know what Faker was doing, but he was first on the move, came later into the lane, and that's also called priority. So Faker had priority, that's why he is always first on the move. Again, he's fogging, and now Caps is maybe they warded bot lane, right? They will have false information, and Olaf will be more hesitant to gank Faker from bot side, and you're just playing and playing with their head. So whenever you have a champion that can get priority in your lane, you should always be looking to fog quite often, honestly, because many things can happen, right? Usually lower level players. So there's a fight in the river. Again, look how fast he switched his camera with his F keys to keep up his map awareness. And now he Caps is disrespecting and just gets caught off and dies. So yeah, this is what Caps does pretty often. He will take the risky path. He doesn't really respect that much, and sometimes it backfires. So Caps is TPing. Faker times it perfectly to get all the minions. So the priority Faker is doing right now is make sure you get every CS available, because it's so easy to farm when the lane is low pressure. You know, when you have 2 control mages and nobody's trying to kill you, you have like less things to worry about. What Faker is doing is focusing on CS and fogging, and so far he has been doing a better job than Caps. Let's see if he TPs. I don't think so, because Caps is pushing and it's also a cannon wave, so he has a lot of time to walk into lane. So usually what happens is that only 1 melee minion dies and the cannon will tank 8 tower shots, about 10 seconds, I believe, and he will still get all the farm XP. Now he will TP to guarantee a winning play for his team, and that's it. So he could have TP'd a bit deeper, or it still wouldn't net him anything, honestly, but this TP was just to guarantee the play. He lost a wave in the mid lane, so that's pretty bad for him. Now, look, Faker is playing pretty safe. He's just waiting for Caps to show. He's still waiting, still waiting, still waiting. Because imagine Morgana is just, you know, camping you in a brush here. You eat a bind from her, and her W, and you are pretty much losing 30% HP for nothing. So this was a disciplined play from Faker. I really like it. Just, you know, this is Morgana, okay? And Faker still does it. Imagine if it was a LeBlanc or something. You instantly have to base, lose all your HP. See, the trades are not that powerful between these champions. It's just really a neutral matchup. But Faker does have a small advantage now. Thanks to the kill he got before, he got a pretty big buy, the Gunblade. Now, he knows that Caps doesn't have TP, doesn't have mana. Let's see what he does. So he can keep the pressure up, or he can maybe freeze. No, he doesn't opt for any of these options. So it seems that he just lets Caps base for free, which is really strange, I think. Because, you know, Caps was losing this lane, but now he gets to reset almost for free. Sure, he will lose some minions, but I believe that Faker could have done much more. So maybe he's playing it too safe now. His jungler was also around him. Now, Can is slow pushing his minion wave. That means that he's building a huge wave and he's coordinating with his jungler. And this is a pretty standard play in pro play. Just one wave is slow pushed and then you just dive them and deny this entire minion wave. So let's see. Can is tanking, and this is just way too much CC. There's nothing that Wunder could have done. Grabs an easy kill. Now should start resetting and volking mid lane, because there's nothing to be happening. He's just wasting time right now, completely. So he wasted about, let's say 10 seconds. He wasted his recall time. He could already be walking to his lane, so he lost 2 minions. The important thing that he should have realized there is that it's pretty much over, the fight, and they can just disengage easily. Even if there was a fight, he wouldn't do anything, right? He didn't have any mana. He had only mana for his Q and for his E, so he wouldn't really change the fight. Now look, he lost, I'd say he lost 3 melee minions, so that these things can add up, right? Especially in a high level of play where 1 minion can be the difference between, for example, level 6 power spike. One champion hits level 6 faster, they will just abuse it really hard, and that can change the whole laning phase. So don't underestimate these little things. So let's see how he will play it now. His bot lane is in base, so they will not have much pressure from bot lane, and Jarvan is pretty far away, so I expect him to chill out a bit here. Now Faker goes to ward, and notice how he put the ward closer to his own base, like to his side of the map. It's just that it's easier to defend and it's harder for the enemy team to approach it, right? So yeah, again, another small thing, but when you are already playing against the best, every single thing matters. So now again, I expect him to go into fog with his jungler to contest vision, and now they guarantee that G2 don't see anything in the bot side. So this is a setup for Faker, so he can have good future roams in the bot lane, and Lissandra, Jarvan are much stronger than Olaf, Morgana at this point. So they can, let's see what Faker will do. Okay, he's going for the hard push. He's really patient with the minions. Caps is posing aggressively. And Faker is respecting that because his team is on Dragon. He'll probably have to burn his ulti here. Right in time. and then they run. So the reason why he wasn't playing very aggressive, he knew that if he get ganked at that time, he wouldn't really have cover. He was just buying time for his team so they would get the dragon. Alright, again, see, mid lane is a 2v2 lane. Not in solo queue. In solo queue, it's a 1v2 lane. I know how you feel. But yeah, in pro play, 2v2, actually even 3v3. Because now, if you look at the MSI games, mid lane is so important. It always has been. And originally, it was a 1v line, 1v1, come 1v1 me bro lane. Then it became a 2v2 lane. And now it's mostly a 3v3 lane because supports get involved as well. And especially in the final against Team Liquid and G2, you will see that everyone is coming mid lane, even top laners and ADCs, because losing control of mid lane is very, very big thing and can snowball pretty hard, since winning mid lane kind of allows you to win any side lane. Okay, so bot lane gets all in. Morgana is there. Now, this roam was probably with Caps' TP, so he'll time it. And he'll deny this one cannon wave and get probably 2 plates. I think he's demolish, yes. So this will be most likely 2 plates. And considering that Caps got only 1 kill. Okay, actually there's a fight. Response immediately with TP. Didn't have to, honestly. So it was kind of a waste, but you don't have that much time to think in this kind of split scenarios, right? So maybe in different situations this would change everything and every second would matter. The loss wasn't also that big because he just pushed the entire wave under Caps' tower, so he's not losing out on anything. And yeah, it just comes down to the communication of the team. It doesn't necessarily have to be Faker's fault. Maybe the top lane just said, we are fighting here, and Faker's like, okay, I need to come, just to guarantee the play, you know, because the risk of Faker not getting anything there was pretty much minimal. It wasn't very big deal. Not in his 1v1, not in his lane. Now that he has no TP, it might affect future plays because he won't be able to protect his team when it actually matters. But right now, at this moment, with the situation it's right now, it didn't really matter at all compared to how big it would be if they would actually guarantee the fight being won, because that can completely change the outcome of the game. So I understand why he TP'd there. And again, he based on a cannon wave. So far, I think every single base Faker did was on a cannon wave. So that's how he is able to keep up his huge CS despite doing, I think, 2 roams, 2 TPs. He still has about 10 CS a minute. So doing pretty well there. Already did some mistakes. Otherwise, he would probably have 120 CS, I'd say. Maybe even 30. Playing it safe right now because he sees his bot side doesn't have pressure. They are using Herald top and his jungler is not around him. So yeah, play safe. But you see how Faker is playing much more controlled, methodical. It's like slow, methodic. Even the way he last hits and aims his spells. He's not really taking any risks. This is not the Faker playmaker, you know. And first off, it's because mostly of his matchup in the mid lane, right? It's not a very explosive matchup. But actually Faker has become more controlled in a sense. Because if you read the interviews... Okay, let's talk about the base race. Now there's the Herald, so there's no way in hell that G2 can win. This was the weird play where they decided to sacrifice their inhibitor just so the Irelia could get more farm. I can see what they were thinking. Because yes, you know the moment in solo queue when you take mid inhib and then your team is just doing nothing, running in it down 1 by 1 and dying, and the enemy team is free farming the whole game. But this is a professional game and you would expect SKT to be able to close out this game. But it's very hard to close out the game when the Baron Nashor is not even spawned, right? So when he's recalling, he's utilizing his free time to do as many things as he can. Just checking the camera every single lane and knowing what's happening, what's going on. Now look, they are maybe confused now. They are pinging the inhib that Wunder is not doing anything there. So now they will attack the bot lane inhibitor, I believe, because when it comes to inhibs, the one that is furthest away from Baron is the most valuable. The one that is closest to the Baron is the least valuable because they can easily defend it. It's much easier to defend and it's close, so they can always have easier access to the Baron fight than if it's further away. That's the logic. So now they get mid lane prio, they put vision to the place they want to play. Faker will stand mid to ensure the mid lane priority, and then he will rotate along his team to bot. And I expect that they will play really aggressive because they're just way ahead right now. 142 CS, doing a good job. Level 10, could have been level 11, played perfectly. Level 11 at 15 minutes is pretty much optimal. And then level 14 at 20 minutes is another benchmark you should be striving for, and that's how you know you have been picking up the all available experience and gold from minions. Okay, so they got mid priority, and now they group up together to attack the bot lane tower. The wave is not very big though, so G2 will be able to wave clear it. Faker continues to hit the mid lane tower. Now what happened here is that they synced the waves, and that means that the mid lane wave and the bot lane wave crashed under the tower at the same time. That means that enemy team had to split to either split to defend both towers or group up together to defend one tower. But if they do that, if they split, right, you can imagine it's much easier to break their base if there's less people defending at the same place. But in the other scenario, if they group up together and don't split, they will be losing farm and a little bit of tower damage to the minions in one lane. So it's a lose-lose scenario, and they achieve that thanks to syncing the time of the waves when they crash under the tower. So right now, Faker is moving to his blue buff. Nothing interesting to see here, so let's speed up a little bit. And Baron Nashor is still very far from coming up, so I'm really curious. This is a very unusual game. I think it never really happened this way, that you would get inhib this early. I mean, it happened, but that the enemy team would willingly lose their inhibitor tower. Okay, so again, mid lane priority, top lane. Wave is coming in, pretty big wave. And I assume they will crash the wave with cannon at the same time. So they're looking right now, just get the priority. And then top lane wave is there, so Wunder has to defend. G2 will also have to defend the mid lane wave, and that's when SKT will attack the bot lane wave. And see how they are split, they need to rotate, they are always behind SKT, and SKT are getting the better end of the deal at this moment. Right now, at this moment, G2 are just putting all their eggs in the Wunder basket, so he carries them, he's getting all the farm. He might be even higher level than Khan at this moment, despite his team being so behind. It's just because SKT have one lane less to farm. Okay, and this is how they got the bot lane tower really clean. So syncing waves, getting the priority. Oh, let me tell it step by step. So priority, get vision, then get priority again, and then use that priority to rotate into your objective while the waves were synced and crashing at the same time, step by step. So now they are in fog of war, they are recalling before Baron, and since it's 2 minutes before Baron and almost all the outer towers are down, I expect SKT to set up vision around Baron Nashor and attack Baron and also the mid lane outer tower, the only remaining outer tower, non-inhibitor tower. So again, let's move up a little bit. Seems like Faker is hovering to Baron as I thought. So again, priority into vision. Now he sees them on the map, but plays it safe. Procs the plant. And again, priority. Denying all the CS from the jungle. Back into priority. And actually, they are not playing around Baron just yet, so maybe it's because of the dragon that is spawning. They just put a little bit of vision, but not much. So the objective, okay, it's an enthroned dragon, I understand that. So they are setting up for Dragon, and then they will go back to Baron Nashor. Let's speed up a bit again. Faker is just here because he knows that he isn't needed there. He's just making sure that they can maintain the priority, using their resources efficiently. Now let's see what they do. Faker is hiding in a fog of war, putting vision, nobody sees him. And they go here for a really quick dive. Now, finally Faker did some play, and I understand that they saw Olaf not group with the team. They saw Irelia in the top lane, so it was a pretty good idea. Just his team was not ready to assist him, and also Sona flashed immediately. She's pretty tanky at this point, in the sense that she has the Zeraf's Embrace. Nice dodge of that binding that could have been really disastrous. The Wunder is going in. He doesn't have many cooldowns, he's just staying outside of the fight on the edge. Making sure that his passive is doing the work and letting Teddy clean up. So, considering the resources he had, no flash, no R, he played that fight fine. Baited a lot of cooldowns in the beginning from the Morgana. And this is just the Teddy show at the moment. And Faker steals the spotlight. So, they will get the top lane inhib, I assume. Or actually not, because everyone is spawning. But they got 2 outer towers. That's a lot of control over the map. And that just means that they can easily control the Baron area. I expect the Baron Nashor to fall pretty soon. And then SKT should be able to close out this game. So, and Faker doesn't have any lane to farm right now, so he farms enemy jungler camps. That's the priority how it goes. Your own minion, I mean the minions you can farm, then enemy jungle camps, and then your own jungle camps. Because remember, you think tower plating is really cool to get, right? 150 gold. But remember that taking a jungle camp from the enemy team is, you get about 100 gold on average. You also get experience that you don't get with tower plates, and you deny that gold from the enemy team too, so potentially 200 gold. Wunder is going for a pretty funny TP here. Dies instantly, and SKT are just going to force the 5v4 situation here to get the inhibitors, or maybe even dive the bot lane tower, because remember, it's all in the Wunder basket. All the rest of G2 are just supportive champions, and without their carry, I expect them to crumble really fast. So Faker's claw is up. Let's see what he does. Caps his positioning aggressively, and because he ate the binding, it's not possible. Faker ensures that they keep getting the priority here, while Teddy is just poking the enemy team out. And again, they just base. Despite getting a kill on Wunder like that, they are not able to progress if anything. I think it was a mistake. They should have definitely gotten at least the mid lane inhib, but they made a call that maybe they can just dive the bot lane inhib. And I understand that, because if you could potentially get bot inhib over mid inhib plus the tower, it's just more gold for your team and more valuable inhibitor. Of course, the risk was a bit higher, which SKT took, and it didn't work out this time, but I completely understand why they would make that play. So, Baron area. Now they see caps. Faker is just playing in fog now. Fogging. Playing it patiently. He has a stopwatch and R, so it's pretty hard to kill him. They see Irelia mid lane. And they are just baiting, because G2 right now don't know what they are doing, right? So they are just waiting for him to come and grab some easy kills. So Can gets a beautiful ultimate there. Faker didn't even had to use his own, and the entire G2 squad is just eliminated. So I believe that this will be the end to the game, yes. So thank you for watching, and this is not the last game in the series, this is the first game. So next game will be again Faker against Caps. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, comment below or get coaching on my website. Message me on Discord for any questions, subscribe, and thank you for coming, Limit Breaker. I hope that you have improved a lot, and we will keep improving together. So bye bye and good luck.